Askreddit. What is the scariest, strangest, most unexplainable thing that has happened to you while home alone? There was one time when I was 17 and I was home alone and I just started hearing doors close line the front door and heard stuff moving around in the kitchen. I checked Life 360 to see if anyone was home yet, really didn't want to say hi to my adoptive parent if it was her, and everyone was still gone. I called the sheriff's station directly because I didn't want to waste emergency resources if it was nothing. They answered and the conversation went like this. Me, hey, I'm home alone now and I think I'm heard my front door and cabinets moving, can you stay on the phone in case there's an intruder? Cop, sure I can do that. What's your address? Me, gives it to them and keeps checking. Cop, how old are you? Me, 17. Cop about 30 seconds into me checking, are you done yet? Me, no, it's a 5-bedroom house. Cop, okay, let me know when you're done. Me, okay, I'm done, there's no one here. Cop, okay, be safe and have a good night. It was like 2 a.m. and I was not about to check the house by myself, considering this was after the Vegas festival shooting and 2 of my family members here, and one of them coped by getting a gun for the house and traveling with one. The one that was at the house had been on the couch, so I didn't want to risk an intruder grabbing it.
My sister and I were home alone and we heard someone running up the stairs. The stairs make lots of noise with slight pressure, so when there's someone big on them you can tell. I went out of my room to check but saw no one anywhere, and my sister also came out of her room and she asked if that was me. I said no, and we both looked around to see if there was anyone but found no one in the whole house. We were confused and called our parents and just waited until they got back, and that was that.
Not really home alone, but when I was little I remember as my dad was taking us to bed, I ran up first to sneak behind my bedroom door. The plan was to jump out and scare my brother before bed, as my bedroom was just opposite the bathroom and he had to walk past it to get to his room. However, behind the bedroom door was 2 strange men hiding. One had a beard and long hair, the other I don't clearly remember, but think he was very skinny. The guy with long hair whispered to me to go away, so I calmly went away and slept with my dad. Mom was working nights and this wasn't uncommon for me, so he never questioned it. I was rightly spooked, and didn't want to be on my own, but didn't told my dad what I saw as I was petrified inside. Straight up thought I'd been told off by some creepy ghosts. We were robbed that night. My brother also woke up that night to go to the bathroom and saw the downstairs light on from the staircase. At the time he thought it was our mother, and would normally, if he got up early, run down and see her. For some reason he didn't go downstairs that night and instead hopped in bed with me and our dad too. When my mom came home, the downstairs was trashed and she was terrified something happened to us. She ran upstairs in a panic and found us all in bed safe and sound. Home insurance was able to salvage most of the losses, and we got a dog not long after that as a deterrent for thieves, which growing up never had another issue again. So I guess not really unexplainable but strange.
I wasn't home alone, but I was awake by myself one Saturday morning in the 80s when I was around 7 or so. I believe my mom was the only one home because my dad went to the lake to go fishing that weekend, and I'm not sure where my older brothers were. Maybe they went with him. Anyways, my mom's sleeping in, and I'm in the living room by myself, watching Saturday morning cartoons and making a fort out of sheets and cushions. Something made me turn around and I saw my dad in his pajamas standing in the hallway entrance with his hands on his hips, looking the mess I was making and shaking his head. He then turned around and walked into my room, which was just off the hallway entrance. Dude. I didn't even look, I just booked it to my parents' room and woke my mom up. I don't remember what happened after that. This was around 35 years ago. And yes, my dad was fine, nothing had happened to him.
Was 17 years old, left alone from Thursday to Sunday with our family's dog, who was pretty small and starting to have trouble climbing stairs in his old age. I'd be working every morning while my parents were out of town. Came home from my shift on Friday and everything about the kitchen table was a mess. Napkins were taken out of the holder, all of the mail was thrown on the floor, salt and pepper shaker on the other side if the kitchen but together, and one of the chairs pulled far away from the table. Our dog's never done anything like this, and I'd be especially surprised if he was even capable of climbing on top of the table. I reset it all. Saturday, I come back to find the exact same configuration. Don't have the pictures anymore, but every detail was just as I found it the day before. Pretty much the entire night I'm convinced there's gonna be a ghost coming to get me, and I sleep horribly and barely rest for work on Sunday. I leave for work and make sure the place was orderly when I left, because I knew my parents would be back before I was out of work. When I go on my lunch break, I call my mom and ask about all of the details from the past 2 days, and she just goes, "Yeah, why did you leave such a mess?" She didn't get pictures, so I can't verify how similar the mess was, but regardless, I can't believe my old dog would have done that, for the details 3 consecutive days, and I don't even know if he was strong enough to move the chairs or climb on the table. Only time anything like this ever happened while I was left alone.
Was a pizza driver for a while back in college. Did a delivery out to the semi-country area late at night. This was before smartphones, Waze and all that. Of course, the road had no streetlights, so the only light came from people's porch lights, my car's headlights and the full moon. Finally found the right house and delivered the pizza to a sweet little old lady. But when I turned around to walk back to my car, I couldn't help but instantly stop. There was a strange sensation that I wasn't alone. I was being watched. But I looked around and didn't see anything. Of course, it was dark AF, so who knows? I slowly moved toward my car and the feeling didn't go away. It only intensified. It was like I was being watched before, but now I was being hunted or something. I looked around and still couldn't see anything. So, I shrugged, figured I was imagining things, and opened my car door when suddenly I heard a clicking sound. Like something was tapping the pavement in the road really fast. I hopped into my car and barely got the door shut when this giant Cujo kind of evil dog jumped at the driver window. He was growling and you could just tell that he wanted a piece of me in a big way. He had drool coming off his mouth, his breath fogged the window, and it was like I could feel the reverb of his growling in my chest through the window. It was only after the fact that I realized how close I came to getting the shit mauled out of me, or possibly killed, by some crazy bloodthirsty dog. Postscript: when I got back to the store, half the drivers had heard where I went for the delivery and they asked me about the dog. Turns out, they'd seen him before, but nobody thought to warn me about it.